Hello, in this video lecture, we're going to be talking about PCS procedures for the ear and the mastoid process. And as we've seen with many other sections, these procedures start with 0 from the medical surgical section, in this case, 09. They then have the 5 characters that go through the rest of the 7 characters, and starting with the root operations in character 3. And as we saw in the previous chapter, these are things like alterations, bypasses, dilations, drainage, division. And again, it pays to understand and be able to articulate what these root operations are. The body part involved is the part of the ear, specifically such things as the auditory ossicle, the sinus, the inner ear, the eustachian tube, and others. These are summarized in table 11.2. There's also laterality, as we have 2 sets of all of these specific body parts for the ear. And again, likewise, we have frontal sinuses, all these different things. So laterality is important with all of these for the 4th character. The approach gets confusing. Think about the differences between open and external, percutaneous and percutaneous with an endoscope, via natural artificial opening and via natural artificial opening endoscopic. All these will drive the code selection for the 5th character. The 6th character will discuss whether the device remains in the patient's body. And these could be things like drainage devices, radioactive elements, hearing aids that are bone conduction, hearing devices that are multiple channels, cochlear implants, autologous tissue substitutes, and others. Character 7 is the qualifier to specify the additional attribute of the procedure. The qualifier of X, as we've seen in other sections, is for diagnostic. This is available. And we have 4 values for this 7th character, the endolymphatic, diagnostic, and no qualifier. Procedures that are in these tables from 090 through 9W, include such things as rhinoplasty, which is a repair, alteration, supplement of a nose, ethmoidectomy, myringectomy, sinusotomy, staphyloctomy, septoplasty, and others. It's helpful to know exactly what these terms mean. If you're not clear on them, you can always use a medical dictionary to help you out. And that's all I have for you. We'll see you online. Please stop by office hours if you have any questions about this material. Bye now.